All right, welcome back, boys and girls. We're here at the reading table and we're about to work with our words to know, blending, context clues, and then hopefully we might even get our story in before we take a break. So let's see how far we can get. So we're going to start off with our words to know for this lesson, and we have the word she, S-H-E. S-H makes the sh sound, and then the letter E for the word she. And then we have all, A-L-L. We know when we see a double letter at the end, it still just makes one sound, so it just makes the ul sound. So we have all. And so those are our two words to know, she and all, for our lesson. We also have been working with the letter E. The letter E makes the eh sound, as in egg and end. It also makes the eh sound in the middle of a word, such as bed or ten. All right, so we are moving on to our blending. I'm going to blend a word, and then you tell me what it is, and we'll see if you were right. All right, our first word is b. B. If you said rub, you are correct. Our next word is y-e-ul. Y-e-ul. If you said yell, you are correct. Next word is k-ab. K-ab. If you said cab, you are correct. Our next word, s-ix. S-ix. If you said six, you are correct. Last word, n-ap. N-ap. If you said nap, you are correct. All right, now I will give you the word and I want you to give me the sounds. All right, first word, less. Less. If you said s, you are correct. Again, double letter at the end gives me one sound. S. Good job. Next word is pin. Pin. P-I-N. P-I-N. That's the correct way to sound it out. Next word, buzz. Buzz. If you said b-a-z, you are correct. B-a-z. Although it has that double letter, it gives me one sound. Good job. Next word, neck. Neck. If you said n-e-k, you are correct. And then also, even though it's not a double letter, but the CK make the same sound at the end. N-e-k. All right, last one is top. Top. T-op. T-op. Good job. All right, we're going to our quick erase. Here, I'll write a word. We'll start off with a base word. Then I'll change the beginning sound, and we'll see if we know what the word is every time we change the beginning sound. So my first word is fox. My F didn't come out too good. Is fox. Ox. Ox. And if I change my F to an L, I have locks. 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 If I change my L to a B, I now have box. 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 All right, changing the whole word. And we're going to start off with hit. It. It. If I change my H to an M, I now have mit. It. If I change my M to an F, I now have fit. It. Fit. All right, changing the whole word. Starting with tan. If I change my T to an M, I now have man. Man. If I change my M to a V, I now have van. Van. Okay, changing the whole word. And we're going to start off with bill. B-I-L. B-I-L. And this also is a double, multiple meaning word, meaning it could say bill, like I get a bill at home. If this was capitalized, it could be someone's name. But today it is not capitalized. It's just a lowercase b. And the word is bill. If I change the B to an M, I have mill. Mill. And if I change the M to an H, I now have hill. Hill. All right, boys and girls, I think we're getting better and better with that. We could do some practice with that during our reading groups as well. Alrighty, we're going back to the reading table. Just want to go over our context clues. So a context clue is a clue that helps you understand what the sentence means, because you may not know what the word means when you read a sentence. So here we go. Get my pen top off. All right, so it says, she penned a letter to her aunt. Would penned mean baked or wrote? And so as we look at the sentence, she penned a letter to her aunt, I see the word letter. And when I see letter, I know, well, wait a minute. When I do a letter, I write a letter. I don't bake a letter. I guess we could bake a letter on a cookie, but it doesn't say anything about cookies or food. It says she penned a letter to her aunt. So that must mean that penned means wrote. She wrote a letter to her aunt. So as we're looking at synonyms, really, we're looking for words that would mean the same thing, that help us understand what the sentence is saying. All right, here's our next one. His dog bays at the moon. And the word we're looking for is bays, obviously. His dog bays at the moon. Well, what does bays mean? Does it mean howls? Or does it mean swims? Well, a dog doesn't swim to the moon, but he certainly could look at the moon and howl at it. So bays must mean howls. All right? So again, we used the context clues. We knew the dog, we saw the moon, and we said, well, dogs don't swim to the moon. So we realized that the word bays meant to howl. All right, here's another way that we use context clues. Maybe we don't even have a clue. We're going to put in a word in the sentence to finish it. And this sentence says, we had to wait in a long blank at the movies. Sorry about the movies. It's kind of fudged there. So we had to wait in a long line, right? You knew that without me even saying it. You used your knowledge of being in lines and waiting at the movies to help you fill in the blank for the sentence. You used context clues. Context clues are other words in the sentence. It might even be a picture that helps you to realize what a word might mean. So context clues are, again, are used to help you figure out what a word might mean in a sentence if you really don't know what it means. It helps you to understand a sentence. And it does that because you could either you look at the other words around it and think about what those other words are relating to, like the dog and the moon. And we knew that a dog doesn't swim to the moon, but he certainly may howl at a moon. And also when she penned a letter to her aunt, well, we don't bake letters, but we certainly write letters. So it means she wrote. And if we had to wait in a long blank, we used our experience of waiting in long lines ourselves to understand that we were waiting in a long line. So that's all a context clue is, are words that help you understand what an unknown word might mean. All right, so let me see. We're going to go ahead, forge ahead. When I say forge ahead, what does that mean? It means that we're going to just press on because our story is really short today. So I think we can go ahead and squeeze our story in before we take a break. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Again, I'm using my book that has a mini book of our story because I don't have these books here at my house with me. So we're reading our companion read today. It is called Growing Sunflowers. And this was also, I believe, written by Monica Wellington. All right, so it says, Monica Wellington grows sunflowers. You can grow sunflowers just like she does. Just follow these simple steps. That's all you need to do. You will need sunflower seeds soaked in water overnight, a cup with small holes cut in the bottom, and moist potting soil. So these are all the things that you're going to need to do planting, just like Monica Wellington. She's the person that also wrote Zinnia's Flower Garden. Follow these steps. Fill each cup with moist soil. Poke 3 holes in the soil in each cup and put a seed in each hole. Again, context clues. I knew I didn't say the right word. I said bake because we're planting. All right, here we go. Sprinkle a little more soil on the top. Put the cup in a sunny place and keep the soil moist, but not too wet. Last but not least, 5 to 10 days later, look at your cup. Do you see little leaves popping up? And if you see little leaves popping up, what's another name for little leaves? Do you remember from our other story, from Zinnia's story? What did she see popping up? Sprouts, correct. She saw sprouts popping up. Same thing. And our last page, 2 to 3 weeks later, remember to water your plants. They will grow big and strong. And we see their little plants in there. So that's our story of growing sunflower seeds, our companion read. We can tell that these stories are alike because they both talk about flowers. I'm starting to go over here to where both our stories are. They both talk about flowers. They both have someone planting flowers. And in both stories, for this story, it gave us definite details, definite steps to take. And we have to take those steps in order. If we don't take those steps in order, what would happen? Our plants may not grow. We certainly need to make sure we have soil in our cup. We can't put water in our cup before we put the soil in our cup because the water would just sit in there. And if we put soil in afterwards, we might make the soil too wet. And certainly if our seeds go in first, then they wouldn't have any soil on the bottom to be able to put for their roots to sprout. So again, sequence of events, sequence of order is important. As our essential questions suggest, why is the order of events in the selection important? It's important because things may not come out the way you want if you don't do things in order, especially when it comes to planting. We must dig up the dirt before we plant our garden. We must make sure we have soil before we plant seeds. All those things need to come in order. And all right, so both stories talk about seeds. Both stories have people digging and planting. What is the difference in the two stories? Well, one is using a character, a cartoon character, if you will, a computerized little girl to plant. And in the other story, there are real people. It was Monica Wellington herself and two children that are actually doing the planting. So that's what makes the difference. They both are non-fictional. They can be true. One is a realistic fiction. The story isn't true, but it could be true. That's Zinnia's Flower Garden. This story is true. It's actually informational, showing us how we should plant the flowers. All right, boys and girls, we are done with our reading table today. You can go ahead and take a break with Miss LaBerth, and when you come back, we will be doing writing.